So I'm sure you've heard of the fight, flight, freeze, or fawn responses. Those are your sympathetic nervous system. But have you heard about them when you're thinking about sex? So one of the topics today I really want to cover is dissociative sex, which is in the freeze category. So if you think of fight, flight, freeze, being frozen and stuck, and I can't do anything, I'm frozen, there's a way your body dissociates or numbs when you're in that sexual experience. And so what's interesting is like the first version of freeze is like this. So you're there, but you're not fully there, right? Like you're stuck. But when we move into a version of freeze, which is dissociation, it's like, it's kind of like being blackout drunk, where like your body charges on and continues, but you are not there. You're just gone in another space. That's dissociative sex. And why I want to talk about dissociative sex today is there are ways that people are engaging in dissociative sex on a pretty regular basis, and they're not aware of it. So here are examples of dissociative sex. So when somebody just watches chronic pornography and just masturbates a lot, like I know everybody's heard of the term sex addiction or porn addiction. We as sex therapists do not use that phrase because that is not, it's not in the DSM, which is our mental health book. And it doesn't really fully help you understand what's happening when somebody is going through that. So dissociative sex is what's actually happening. And it's where somebody is engaging in an action, a sort of escapism sex, in order to soothe their system, but they're not even fully present for it. When I talk to clients who have porn addiction, so I'm only using it because it's the popular term, they're engaging in dissociative masturbation, where they're not fully present. They're just binge porning, like binge eating, binge porning. They're watching it, they're touching, but like if you ask them, like, do you feel it? Do you notice it? They're like, yeah, like some of them are completely numb, or they're just doing it because they're habitually used to the pattern of masturbating that way, but they're not fully present for it. And the sex isn't very good, or the masturbation isn't very good. And so dissociative forms of sex and masturbation are where you're here, but you're kind of not here. And there's ways that, like, say you had a traumatic history and you're having sex, you can dissociate and not be present. So even though you're telling the person you're with, I do want to have sex with you, if they like hit on a trigger or a historic trauma in the way they touch or engage in the sexual experience, then you can trigger and dissociate. And that's that freeze category where you're like, you're no longer with us anymore. And the hard thing is the person will not know that, right? Like you'll be having sex, but they're not aware that you're gone because, again, this is a thing that happens in your body, in your head. And so the important thing for treating dissociative sex is to bring the mind and the body back together when it comes to sexual experiences. So like when I'm treating somebody who's struggling with porn, or a sexual dissociation through porn, or actual like sexual dissociation when they're having sex with a partner, one of the things that I do to help people work on this is bringing those two together. It's noticing when they're triggered and they're escaping to some degree and finding a way to connect that mind and body again. Because again, usually it's connected to some trauma history. For the porn person, I hate porn addict because, again, I hate that term. But for the person who's using porn to dissociate, they have to learn to come back into their body, and they have to learn how to have a sexual experience with their partner again. Usually there's a connection there or a disconnection there that like they've lost that connection with their partner. And so they're using porn to kind of dissociatively have a sexual experience, but it's not as pleasing. It's not really what they want. And when you talk to people who are struggling with that as a problem, they're not happy about it. They don't like it's filling a gap, but it's not doing what they want. They really want a healthy sexual relationship with their partner. There's a way that mind body has been disconnected. And so if you would like help with this as a problem, I would love to help you with this. Please submit a contact form at therapist@stlouis.com. Please like and subscribe, and you can submit comments below.